There we go. We're now live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Bill and Ammon's Bogus Hangout. Uh, now, introduce everybody. Have everybody introduce themselves and say hello and tell us what they're up to. David, since you're on the left.
Wow, I just got to do that to me. Not much. Literally, I was having wife with the lunch. Okay, well, that's my semantic analysis tool for you. I was having lunch with the wife, and we were watching the time. I was like, okay, I gotta go. We got like 15 minutes. So I literally just walked in the door, grabbed my computer, headset, mic, and here I am. So other than that, I have no idea what I'm doing. Working, and that's it. And then also preparing for our hangout tomorrow that we have, Bill. So yeah, that's been about it. I'm here in Canada. The Americans had President's Day yesterday, but here in Canada, in my part of Canada, we had Family Day yesterday, which everyone gets the day off. So all the businesses are closed, everything else. And the premise being you go spend it with your family, a very Canadian thing. So there you go. That's been my week. It was, Family Day yesterday. So
that sounds like a much more pleasurable event than Orange President's Day.
Yeah, and there's no mattresses on sale here apparently, so
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a nice day. We literally and like I was saying just before the show, I've got like a 16 and an 18-year-old, so literally had to pull one off a computer and the other one off her phone in her room and made them come and sit and spend time with us. So that's probably the last one until next year, but
Make them leave the cell phone in the bedroom and come out and sit with the family.
No, it was tricky actually, Doc. There's this game on the Xbox called Fibbage, right? And you use your phone to play the game. So they had no choice. They had their phones in their hands to play this game, and essentially, the screen asks a question, and everyone makes up an answer, and all the answers come up, including the right answer, and you pick one. And I wanted like 6 out of 8 sessions, so apparently I'm the best liar in the house, which has made Tanya very uncomfortable.
Doc, you want to introduce yourself and tell us what you're up to?
Doc Sheldon, Intrinsic Value SEO and Search News Central. The last few days, I've just been taking care of some of the chores around the house because my wife's out of town and she's coming home Friday. And I don't want her to walk into a pig pen and have her realize that this is probably the way it was the entire time she was gone. And did a little rewrite on the novel.
You said you would start that on Friday, so you're still working on it.
Yeah, well, it's kind of an ongoing battle, as I'm sure she would attest.
How much of a mess could you possibly make? I don't want to know. Never mind.
No, you don't want to know.
No.
No, but I did a little rewrite on my novel and wrote up a couple of articles. Aside from that, just trying to stay out of trouble and keep warm.
Your novel is about a Soviet battleship?
Well, it's not about the battleship. It's about basically what it is. It's a United States naval officer who gets not drummed out, forced out of the Navy because he told some admiral what he thought of him. And he's an editor of a magazine that wins a lottery drawing to go and be an observer aboard a Russian vessel during some joint U.S.-Russian exercises, which is kicking off a new glasnost, if you will, a treaty of cooperation between Russia and the U.S. And some things happen. The Chinese and the Iranians get together and decide they're going to take advantage of the situation and force everybody else to their will. And he ends up actually joining the Russian Navy.
Well, at the rate he's going, we won't need to buy this novel, so we're going to have the whole story. Thank you, Doc.
Well, I'm not going to go into the steamy sex scene that I had to rewrite and tone down.
Oh, okay.
We'll send you the original, Dave. How's that?
Simon, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi there, Simon from Coffee Black and Prospect Driver, and I've been doing an enormous amount of Python programming recently. So I've started programming in Python about 3 months ago, and I've now spent the last 3 weeks doing nothing but that. So
Yeah, I was gonna say, Simon, you went kind of dark for the last few weeks. I knew you must have been working on something, man.
Yeah, we've got a load more stuff in Prospect Driver now that I'll show you later on. So that's all going to be ready to go.
Yeah. Somebody, like, I don't know if you even saw me tag you on Facebook. Someone was saying, "Where do you find SEO clients?" And I was like, "Well, mine come from referrals, but I know a guy who's got something I like."
I haven't even looked at Facebook. I've been trying to do some quite difficult stuff, but
someone was asking, where's a good way to find clients, and I said, "Well, there's this tool coming, so you might want to just hang in." And so I tagged you in it, but. You've been gone dark for the last couple of weeks, so I know.
Yeah, I've been doing like nothing, but I've been up until about 3-4 o'clock in the morning, and then sleeping in, just because I can get it done in quiet time. But yeah, just that got a couple of new SEO clients coming on board, which is really exciting, and just looking forward to the future now.
Hey, Terry. Would you like to introduce yourselves and tell us what you're up to?
Terry Van Horn. Yeah, that's my name. Don't wear it home.
SEO Pros?
SEO Pros, International Website Builders, KSM Technologies. Those are three.
And new SEM Rush fan.
Yeah. I looked at it before.
We used to look at it back when they first started. Remember when the dojo got together with them when they 6-7 years ago, whatever.
I just have a problem. Yeah, I just have a problem with tools that try and replace me. So I'm not.
I think you're safe there, dude.
Yeah,
in many ways.
That's what I mean. But a lot of people think that, this can be replaced by a tool. And I'm saying, no way, not a chance ever. But I was impressed with the keyword data that I got from them. It was no harder than AdWords keyword planner, but that isn't, that isn't exactly
it's a low bar.
Yeah, it's a very low bar. Almost like the bar in SEO. No bar. They have some bar. If the tool would just give me all the data on a list of keywords, I would rather have that tool than one that makes me enter stuff and then choose a bunch from it. Because it basically spit back a list that I already had, but had no traffic for it. Right? Because in e-commerce, 80% of the traffic is generated from a very low number of keywords, like usually less than 20.
Generally, again, we kind of talked about that recently. Like an informational site, maybe, you know what I mean, it's going to be slightly different, but on the average site and consumer and e-commerce or whatever that we work with, the long tail is not what it used to be.
Yeah, well, there's that, but also I just use that kind of stuff for prioritizing the work anyhow. Like, I think all the numbers are complete, made up.
Well, another thing I use it for, dude, is when I go to like Authority Labs or something and I'm plugging, because when I go through, like, if I'm looking at a rank tracking tool, isn't for me to report to my client. Well, it is to a degree, but I'll plug in the 10 top competitors based upon those. What are the terms, the head terms? What are the big terms that right. We're going to find? Then I can go find those competitors. Then I plug them into my rank tracking, and then I can keep an eye on that space. Did Google change something? Did a competitor change something? What is going on in that query spaces across the board?
Dave, you know what that tool would really do nicely? Remember how we used to find competitors by using rankings in the SERPs?
Right, because so many clients think these guys in their head is who their competitor is. No, whoever's ranking in that SERP is your competitor, even if you don't think he is, because he's taking a spot that you want. So
I always tell clients when they say, "I'll give you a competitor list," I'll say, "Yeah, and your competitor's list will not have a single site that I find as a competitor to."
Well, SERP out, buddy. SERP out, right? SERP out. You got to go SERP out because that's who your competitors. It's who's taking up that space.
Mainly, they're not looking at the right things. I'm just looking at how that site ranks, and once I identify the top 5, I go and review the website in detail. I look at their backlinks. In other words, I want to figure out how did they do it, and that tool. Give me an hour or two to work with some programmers, and I give them something,
SEM Rush has come a long way, and you know what I mean. I've been enjoying it
from when I first looked.
Dude. Well, you got to remember, we're at the dojo. Raven and SEM Rush, all the Majestic. Even we're just starting out when we had the dojo and stuff, so we used to get free accounts and discounts for the members, and we were always in there kicking the tires. So we've watched these guys grow up since they were little. I remember SEM Rush when he's just knee-high to a grasshopper. Yes, sir.
But I was interested in seeing all of the information and like the dashboard that you told me to go in and look at. Being able to see trends and a whole bunch of stuff that I normally don't pay much attention to, but am seeing where that is becoming, things have changed, and you have to look at those trends now, because I can see in some of the keyword work that I've been doing that, for instance, people who put a certain term in for one of the industries I'm in, it's a catch-all phrase, and it's less than 3 years old, like in an industry that's been around 20. So, it's it identified that, which showed me something that
was that the toner guys? Was that the toner guys, or
pardon me?
Was that the toner guys? Or?
No, that's the office.
Oh, okay,
office space and co-working mainly. So I've been looking at that. Actually writing some posts on that particular subject.
Sorry, Bill, did you have anything you'd like to get into today, or should Terry and I just pretend we're hanging out on Skype? Sorry, man.
I might as well introduce myself and say what I've been up to. Sure. I'm Bill Slosky. I'm the writer at SEO by the Sea and director of SEO research at Go Fish Digital. I've been writing a little bit. I wrote an article on Link Assistant this week on media consumption histories and how Google's listening in using your phone to see what you're watching on TV and listening to on the radio or Skype or other devices, and those could influence your search results. Say if you search for a movie that's an action movie, and Google knows you like to watch romantic comedies, it might throw a few of those in with the action movies.
Oh, so they're not actually seeing that. What they're seeing is what you watch on your Android telephone.
They do have at least one patent where they talk about how they might listen for ultra-high frequency messages from different devices that you own.
Oh, like a Google Assistant?
Like a Google Assistant or an Android phone or a Google TV.
Right. And Google Assistant is the little round thing that's in the room and listens for you.
Google Home, Google Now. I'm not sure what the name of that one is anymore.
Okay, so
I
they're
mean,
using multiple marketing names for it, basically.
Yeah. I mean, it's under 3 different names on phones.
Yeah,
It's Google Now, Google Assistant.
yeah. Sounds like Lefty doesn't know what Righty's doing.
It reminds me of Yahoo.
Yes, that's a good point. Lefty
You remember
doesn't know what
you remember the Peanut Butter Manifesto? There's a VP of search at Yahoo who wrote papers saying, we've got to stop this. We're getting carried away. We've got too many self-competing services. We've got Yahoo Photos and we've got Flickr. We've got a bunch of different things that have different names that may be doing poorly against each other. And he was right. I mean, they did go out of business. They did get sold, right?
Mm-hmm. But a lot of that, some of the stuff with Yahoo was where they bought companies with stock, which ended up being worth, what those companies are worth. Not very much.
And Google copied their advertising. So Yahoo grabbed some Google stock, and that supported them for a while.
For a while.
And then I remember Microsoft tried to buy them for like $2 million, and they said no. I think a few other people tried to buy them too.
Yeah, because they would have bought in at the ground floor, right? That was kind of like they bought a small part of Google when they decided to use their results in their hybrid model.
It's like when they let Bing start crawling the web for them. That was shortly after Yahoo turned down an offer to buy them from Microsoft.
Yeah.
I read something last week. Somebody was saying it's about time to get rid of Bing. More people would use that search if it was called Microsoft Search. What do you think?
I could see it possibly having more name recognition amongst folks that are not, that don't spend a lot of their time online. They may have heard of Bing, they may not have heard of Bing, but they wouldn't be able to tell you that it's a search engine per se. I think the vast majority of users around the country, around the world. But I don't know. I hate, when a company that has some history behind it changes names, that's a real dangerous game. You might win here and lose there, and it's all a crapshoot,
I could see it. There's Windows developers that don't, and network administrators. There's a lot of people who work with Windows products who won't use anything else.
Bing is short for, but it's not Google.
Oh, really?
I don't know. That's
I'll
what I've
tell you
heard.
something. That might be a better name for the company than Bing.
Just not the Google.
Not the Google.
Well, if you figure DuckDuckGo is one that a search engine that I started seeing on the radar after Google started all the personalization and wanting to get in your backyard, which is my pet peeve for the week, by the way. I can now try and search and get U.S. I can't get U.S. listings anymore from Canada. I cannot see the .com index.
Well,
I get the same thing.
You can always get some proxies. I always got some handy list of proxies.
But proxies are doing things from a proxy server, unless you're paying for it, is a royal pain.
So Google is keeping .com information from you?
Yes. Basically, I can go to .com and I get the same results I get in Canada.
That's strange. That's not affecting me down here at all. In Mexico, I'm still seeing.
Well, I think they tagged me personally.
Yeah, it's a vendetta.
I wouldn't be surprised if they don't.
Well, you ever tried that, Simon? Since you're in the UK, Simon, like you go to google.com, it'll default to COUK, but if you look at the bottom, it says use google.com on the bottom right. Have you ever tried that? Is going to there and seeing if they were the same, or does it actually seem to be the code?
I haven't for like about a year or so, but it's always been.
It used to work up until about a month or two ago. I started noticing it was getting harder and harder to get. Personally, I think they tagged my DNS on my modem. Not even an IP. I think it's the DNS on my modem.
Or the MAC address or something like that. Maybe.
Yeah. Something deeper than they really need to be.
Yeah, we'd have to, again, like get someone like Simon or someone right out of the, even Doc. So Doc, you don't, but then again, you'd need someone like totally right out TLD, like Simon or someone to check that.
Yeah, I've got exactly the same results.
Right, so even if it stays on COM, you're still getting the UK results.
So it's basically personalization to the point of making it useless. Correct, Simon?
Yeah, absolutely. I've just done a test using plumbers, so it may be that.
But it's not a big deal, right? But it's not a big deal for you in the UK because you're not really going to want to buy anything from the United States. Anything, right?
No, absolutely.
In Canada, a lot of stuff you can only get in the United States online because there aren't stores for it in Canada.
Okay, so .com is supposed to be commerce, right? It's supposed to be international. It's not supposed to be tied to a country.
Well, yeah, but it pretty much is.
Yeah, it's been accepted as the US version for a while.
Because there's no Google.us, right? So
it used to be almost like the default for USA. But now it seems we're still going to give you Canada, even though you're on an international result, looking for information with the word USA in the query. It's ridiculous.
So the patents about data centers from Google say that those have two different indexes in them, a regional one and a global one. And the global should be giving international results. The regional one should be giving local results.
Wow.
It sounds like you're just getting regional.
I've just done an example search for used cars Birmingham, just specifically because there's two Birminghams. There's one in the UK and one in Alabama. Yeah. And I'm just getting results for Birmingham, UK.
Yeah, but try something like Learn SEO.
Yep.
Right? Something that's not as locally featured, financially or whatever. Like, Learn SEO. Does that, does the .com still look the same as the .co.uk on something more informational?
I even get the same knowledge graph at the top.
It's weird, isn't it, Simon? It's not like it used to be. It's
identical. Yeah, it's absolutely identical for both of them.
No, all right, so even on an informational query, it's still geolocalizing everything, really.
And this is I guess it's geolocalizing because most of the things. I've got Moz, Ahrefs, Search Engine Journal, Advanced Web Ranking. So it's US results, but that's exactly what I get on Google UK as well because we don't have an equivalent.
Now, see down here in Mexico, running on both the .com and on the .com.mx. I was looking at office space rental.
Well, what about latest political news or something like that? That'd be a good one. Are you getting like on the .com? Are you getting like Trump stuff, and in the UK, are you getting like your own stuff? Like try something that maybe because obviously Learn SEO. Yeah, you're right. There's not really an equivalent. So maybe latest political news would be a good search to try.
I think now that Simon I've never looked at it from the point of view of a non-commercial search, right? I've only looked at the terms that I'm working on, trying to figure out what the hell is going on. Because where it's really problematic is
try something like latest political news and see what you get, Terry. Like in the .ca, does it actually? Are you getting American political news on the com?
If I do programming stuff in the Canadian index, I get U.S. results. So it seems to be tied to transaction type keywords.
Transactional, terms.
Yeah.
Now, see, but it's weird. I'm not getting local stuff on either down here. I mean, I did the office space rental search on both, and on both of them, I've got stuff scattered all over the world. I got South Africa, Zimbabwe, and Cape Horn. I've got UK. I've got Canada. Vancouver.
Okay, so that's actually a useless search as well, right?
It's totally useless.
I've noticed that quite a bit recently as well. In maybe the past 3 or 4 weeks, I've been doing searches and ending up with Australian results and things like that for stuff I've never seen before. So literally last 3 or 4 weeks, this has been happening a lot more.
I've seen it for the last couple of months, and I am wondering, theorizing that perhaps it's because I spend a lot of time online in both Australia and the UK. Right. And I think, not necessarily on those sites, but researching sites and topics in the UK or in Australia or in Canada specifically. And I'm thinking that they may be picking up on that and broadening my horizons accordingly. I don't know.
Right.
But
it might be trying to personalize it in the sense that it thinks you might be traveling there in the near future, and so it's trying to mix it up a bit.
Yeah, well,
or I don't leave the house. Those countries enough with his work that they think he's a global globe trotter, and he's works all over the world.
He's Doctor Who. They're going to start in the 60s now.
He transport. He's got himself a teleporter.
There's a bias on your search results based upon your search history. Yeah.
Right.
No, but is that going to be logged in or just based on IP?
But it's not topical. It's more regional in this instance.
I'll tell you what. I'll jump on a VPN in the States with a private browser and tell you what I see from there. Talk amongst yourselves. This will take a sec.
Hey, Doc, doesn't this kind of remind you of what we were seeing when I first started looking at that group of keywords? And then I kind of partially put it down to that keyword, those set of keywords being affected by the fact that it was an ambiguous search term.
Well, do you mean the time when you were finding all the aggregators that were populating your search?
Pardon me?
You mean when all the aggregators were populating the search?
Yeah.
Except that I'm seeing that the general SERP quality, it just seems to be more shit now.
Yeah, it seems to be deteriorating. That's for sure.
Dramatically.
However, that particular set of terms that I was looking at, I haven't done a whole lot, and I've started going up again. So it's kind of confusing.
Okay, so I'll get a slightly different result here, but I'm on a VPN that's in Maine, but it's actually giving me like Czechoslovakian results. So I don't know if somebody else has been using the same IP and checking loads of Czech stuff. But I do see, I still see the first results the same, which I've just done a search for news on google.com and got bbc.co.uk/news as the first result, which is identical to home. But then second result is news.google.cz, which I haven't seen before. So There's probably a lot of personalization.
So you're just searching news, literally just the one.
Yep, just the one thing.
Let me go try it. Yeah, all right.
That could be other developers maybe using the same VPN from Czechoslovakia too, though, right?
Yeah, and then they're probably going to be logged in at that point, doing stuff, and then it's going to get personalization. So it almost seems like it doesn't matter which Google you go to, you're getting personalized. It doesn't matter where you start off.
Yeah.
Which is a real pain in the ass.
Yes, it is.
Well, especially when you're working outside of your country and you're trying to see the SERP. It kind of really puts a big freaking hole in my method because I do all my research from the SERP out. I don't use the kind of stuff that other people do because I want to know what the composition of the SERP is, news, video, etc. Right? Sometimes that's the easy way in.
Again, here I changed my search query to news on both the .com and .mx, and in both of them I'm seeing the UK, I'm seeing US.
See, I did it here. I defaulted to .com and kept the CA identical. It's all Canadian stuff. The National, CTV News, Toronto Star, CBC, even on Google.com. So it's still looking at the IP.
I've got Hindi, Hindu.com news. I
got the Peterborough Examiner. I've got Peterborough Examiner. Numbers.
Doc, but it'd be kind of.
Yeah.
Can we just do
look at my IP?
Everybody check whether or not putting and the ampersand sign and PWS equals 0. See if that still does anything. Because that used to get rid of the personalization of results, but it's changed stuff a little bit, but not a lot.
Yeah, no, I don't have it in my
I think
one,
something has gone deeper than personalized.
Yeah, no, I don't even have that, Simon. Not in mine. So.
I mean, this means that they're effectively, instead of just personalization to your accounts and stuff, they're personalizing per IP.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. That's exactly what's going on. Yeah.
I got a feeling it's even worse than that. I got a feeling they can get all kinds of information.
It's a shit.
It's good fun. Let's find a new way around it now.
Yeah, that's it. I'm just going to go pay for some proxies and see what I can play with there.
Well, that's where SEM Rush actually came in to an advantage, too, was it was able to show me actual U.S. results, not...
Well, yeah, no, and our buddies at Authority Lab, Terry, you can literally put in, like, the U.S. zip code and stuff for your rank checking and stuff.
Yeah.
Meaning, like, if I've got a client, I got a local client down in San Antonio, Texas, and I can literally put in, both mobile, desktop, and the zip code into those. So,
wow. Okay. Those are the guys who took our suggestion.
That's our boys. Yes, the guys with the universal search and stuff. Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Okay, they're pretty.
And then everybody copied. Then everybody copied them. So look what we went and did, bro.
We're the trendsetters. We
thought buddy. Yeah.
There's possibly one way around it. A while ago, when I was about 7 or 8 years ago, when SE Nuke first came out, and I was trying to spam the world with really good quality spun articles. I came up with an idea.
I've read some of those, dude. Those were awesome. You're like
they were great. They were great.
That's one for the books.
I had an idea about using Amazon AWS. You can set up an EC2 instance and then use OpenVPN on it, and if you can automate adding a fresh IP to it, basically, which comes out of like Amazon's group of cloud IPs they've got ready to be attached to stuff. So there's a reasonable likeliness with the quantity of IPs that they've got that you would get a fresh one to a certain extent. So it may be that we could actually use Amazon Cloud IPs as an outbound one and be able to get fresh results without any personalization.
This is like the opposite of like 15 years ago when there used to be a Google Dance and we all had IPs and different servers. We'd all go to these different Google servers to see which one was updating that name. Well, this one had these results. And it's like we've come full circle and gone the other way now.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Jesus.
That's going to be a real pain. Oh, well. I use SEMrush anyway. I've used them for about 5 years, so I'm good.
Don't SEMrush and Google have a deal on some stuff?
No idea. I'd have to ask Anton.
I thought there was some place where they asked if I wanted to add that to my SEMrush.
But all I have to say is everybody here listening now in the future should go and use SEMrush all the time. And that way, Anton, can I keep my free account? Anton, okay, we're good now? We're good? Okay, all right, cool. All right, boys, everybody go use SEMrush.
I'll second that, and I don't get anything for free. I pay for it.
I'll talk to Anton. You'll be fine now. Don't worry. So, we were prepping for this show tomorrow about client startup, and somebody on Facebook asked me, what do you do? I said, anybody got questions for the group tomorrow? And he says, well, what do you do with a $0 startup? I was like, what do you mean by $0? Do you mean like pro bono for a worthy cause, or you don't take a deposit? He's like, no deposit. I was like, that's a pretty easy one to answer. I don't think we need to. No, you don't. You just don't. Like, I'm sorry, what? Like literally, again, I can get away with it, but I literally charge my clients up front. If it's monthly, if it's a consulting contract, everything's paid up front. And I learned this years ago because I did an audit for this lady, and I told her, well, you got to change your whole URS. My advice was change your URL structure. My advice was change your architecture. My advice was a whole bunch of stuff. She literally came back, and she'd only put a 50% deposit. She literally came back and said, well, I can't afford to have a programmer do all that. I'm not paying for this. What kind of advice is that? I was like, well, that's your advice. What do you fucking want? What is it you thought I was going to say? You're doing awesome. Everything's great. Unicorns and rainbows.
What advice is that? It's the right advice. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean it's wrong.
Well, yeah, that's what it was. And she refused. Like, I had to bite the other half of that audit money. You know what I mean? Because she didn't like the advice. Well, you didn't ask me to tell you what you wanted to hear. You asked me to give you what I thought you should do. So, yeah, ever since then,
Ever since then, figured out a way of getting out half of it.
Yeah, ever since then, man, it's like, here's the audit price. Okay, great. I'll start as soon as you send me the full amount. Because I'm going to send you a good audit. I know my work's good. And if you don't like it, well, that's not my problem.
Yeah. I think that's the thing with a lot of stuff. I mean, we do it now. I mean, we had someone a couple of weeks ago. It's like, well, can you start next month? Yeah, no problem. We'll need the first month's payment. And they're like, oh, well, we pay in 30 days. Okay, well, that's fine. I can wait 30 days and then start.
I'll start in 30 days. Yeah, exactly. When the money hits the bank, I'll get started, man.
Yeah.
When the money hits the bank, I'll try to work you into our calendar.
Yeah, exactly. Because every time I talk to my landlord, and every time I go to the store to buy groceries, and every time I go into a restaurant, I try telling them to wait 30 days, and they just won't go for it. So
you all want to get paid first.
It's just kind of weird that way.
That's brilliant. I'm going to try that at the fish and chip shop.
Next time you're in the restaurant, just go eat a nice big meal and go. When they bring the bill, just go. Yeah, I'll give that to you in like 30 days. Thank you for the meal. That was awesome.
And then shortly thereafter, say hi to a nice police officer, Billy.
So I don't do that 30 days.
You'll end up doing 30 days.
Yeah, one way or the other. That's it. I'll be sitting there until I get paid. Yeah. But yeah, and again, like I know that it's a very normal business practice and everything else. You know what I mean? And we have had some, situations where we've done that with larger corporate clients where you got ironclad contracts, this and that. But a lot of the times, I'm sorry, if you're doing consulting work or audit work and things like that, you're running that risk of them just deciding all of a sudden that they don't like your advice. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't like that meal. I'm still paying for it. You know what I mean? Like, and again, I've given people money back at times, but I just, but you can't just turn around and say I didn't like the advice. Well, I'm sorry. Like, I have to pay someone to rewrite all my URL structure and my architecture? I can't afford that. What kind of advice is this?
Well, you should have got it done right in the first place.
A radical concept.
Well, just like you, dog. Like, I think you need a better content program. Well, I'm not paying for that advice. I can't afford a content program. Well, your competitor can. So you might have a problem here. Like, you know.
Yeah, I've looked at your website. You can't afford not to.
Yeah.
It's like someone else was talking about Shopify. They were like, you know, I have this client and they're going to do Shopify, and you know, does anyone have advice on Shopify? I said, sure. I tell them to get off it. You know, like, it's like, well, because you know, if you actually look, and funny enough, Doc, I'd never actually really dug in. They charge 3 to 5%. Sorry, 2.5 to 3.5% plus something else for every transaction. And if you don't use their payment processor, meaning like if you want to use PayPal or something like that, that's an extra 2.5%. So you're paying between 4.5 and 6% of your revenue goes to Shopify. And you have limited control. And you have limited control of your website and everything else.
Yeah.
Like, so you know, if you're doing 100, and so I said to the girl, I said, listen, the best thing to do is advise your client that A, you've got a very limited CMS that isn't going to allow me to do everything I need to do to compete with some of your competitors. B, here's how much this place is going to cost you every year, which is, if you know, you got a small e-com doing 10 grand a month. Now, this isn't profit, that's gross. You're still going to be spending another, you know, 6 grand a year in just fees to Shopify, which justifies a move to like WordPress and WooCommerce where you actually got control. You know what I mean? So I said, and if they don't want to go for that, that's fine. Then you go and do your SEO on this Shopify. But the reason you want to do that is because you know the coming back to you in 6 months and you going, well, we can't do this, we can't do that with Shopify. And they say, why didn't you tell me sooner? That's the risk you're running. So I told her, just write it up that way. Tell them that this is what you feel, and that way you covered your ass. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, literally, it's like between 4.5 and 6% just to be on Shopify of your gross revenue. So,
and a monthly fee on top of that.
Yeah, yep. And so that justifies moving right there, man. It's just, and you got a limited CMS.
And unfortunately, you see so often folks that want to open up a shop, and they go out and they look at a few blog posts and they see certain things mentioned like WooCommerce and Magento and Shopify. You know, what are their options? And they seem to be gravitating towards Shopify because it's so easy.
Well, and that's it, dude. Like, we've got a girl right now, we're taking off of Wix and putting her onto WordPress and stuff because it was just a whole goddamn mess. But the same thing, like, because it was easy, because it was plug and play, drag and drop. And that's what happens. But then when you start to get serious about, you know, marketing and you know, and again, like, imagine you couldn't even set up a split test on Wix if you wanted to. Like, it's not gonna happen. Like,
there's so much.
I mean, the biggest problem I'm finding with Wix is you can't even get the content off. I mean, there's a way that you can get the blog posts.
It's tricky. Like, Tanya managed to pull it off, but it's not easy, no.
Okay, let me know then, because I'm just about to write a scraper for it.
No, you don't have to scrape it. Tanya's figured it out. She actually knew way before we get on there. Simon was curious if later you want to give my hand on tell him how to get content off of it. Tanya just went, oh God, really? Anyways, yeah, it's doable without having to scrape it. So
good. That's good.
No. Oh, because it picks up all that stupid.
Well, no, because there's no scraping Wix content. Because Wix.
Oh yeah. Go view the source, dude. It's not even the HTML is not in the source. You can't scrape it. You can't.
No, I should. I'll have a look. Yeah, I was just.
I'll get her in touch with you on Skype, man, and she'll tell you what she did, and you can go figure it out. So, but yeah, you can't even scrape it because it's all fed in through JavaScript and shit.
I
it's not.
Grab it all.
Go view source. View source sometime, man. It's like
Yeah, just grab it all in screenshot size. You can rank that, right?
Okay, so if I just do screenshots and then have like an image per page.
Just put then type all the content into the alt text. Yeah.
That's a brilliant idea.
What could go wrong?
New website. That's right.
Let's say BigCommerce. You know, I had a dojo guy who came to me who had a client on BigCommerce, and you know, I went in the back end there. And it was, you know, he's like, Dave, can you help me some advice? And I looked at it, I was like, you're kind of screwed. There's just not the tools SEO-wise to compete. Never mind developer-wise or marketing-wise or anything else. Those self-hosted things are, yes, they're easy, but there's a price to be paid for that. And, you know, it's just life. Yeah, big commerce is another pain in the butt. Oh my god, I hate that one.
Yeah, I was to say, I mean, I used to do everything in Magento at one point until you realise that
Magento was
actually,
awesome for years. They went down this year, great, like 5 years ago, 4 years ago.
great,
But then it just
but it's too big for some projects, and it's the reason we use Magento is because WooCommerce was not able to deal with that many products, but it can. All you got to do is set it up right, and it works fine.
look at OpenCart. OpenCart's pretty much once we get past that 200, 300 product level of WooCommerce, we've been using OpenCart a lot. So.
Oh no, steer away. I mean, I'm literally just halfway through moving cardboardboxes.co.uk from OpenCart onto WooCommerce instead, just because I mean they haven't even got filters for products. All the basic stuff you'd expect things to have, and
it probably does. It probably does. You just haven't worked with enough. I mean, like Terry and Tanya have worked with OpenCart for a bit, so.
Oh no, I hate it. Can't stand it anymore. I've had enough of it, I think, is more to the point.
I've used it, but I definitely like WooCommerce much better.
So, I mean, you can buy a plugin to do filters, but the same as everything else. Plugins for WooCommerce and stuff, they just tend to do what they're supposed to. Plugins for OpenCart, I think out of the last 10 that I've bought, probably 4 or 5 of them just didn't work in the first place. How have they managed to do that? I mean, its sole purpose was to do this thing on OpenCart.
Tanya is completely disagreeing with you that OpenCart definitely does have filters.
Where?
He says where. I don't know. We'll do this another time. This is Bill's show. So you're talking later about the Wix thing. You guys can have it out there. Yeah,
okay, cool.
Another time. We're not gonna. We're thread jacking here, modern, 21st century style. So we're thread jacking.
Go on then.
So,
Bill's
Doc,
going to say
Doc,
something.
you're looking icy cold there, Doc. What is it, 70 degrees?
No, actually, it's like in the low 50s.
Low 50s, yeah. See, there you go. We were talking to Nancy earlier, and she said, "Oh, it's so cold here." We were like, "What? How cold?" She said it was 55 or something. It was like, "Oh, yeah." Well, you guys need to come visit in Canada sometime.
No, I don't.
I think they had frost warnings in San Diego earlier this week. So
yeah, we had snow. We had snow.
Yeah, Bill, we get if you're outside for more than 10 minutes, your skin will freeze warnings. It's a little different when it's minus 40 Celsius. So
the last time I was in Toronto was like the 14th or 15th of January.
Oh God, bro, that's not a good time to show
30 years ago, and I said it won't fucking happen again.
No, I guess not. I don't even want to be here in the 50s.
No, so to bring up another subject completely different, the SEO industry lost somebody named Jill Sampe, who was a consultant agency owner, and she was well known and well liked within the industry. I saw her around on places like Facebook and so on. I'm not exactly sure what happened to her. I haven't seen any specific news that indicated, but it's sad to see.
Yeah, the last year we lost quite a few. I didn't know Jill. I gather she was considerably younger than a lot of us. So my condolences to her family and friends.
Yeah. Oh, she looks really young. That's a shame.
I mean, it's one of the things that makes me happy about the honoring people in the SEO industry that Barry Schwartz is doing.
Mm-hmm. And that's not without some effort on his part either. It's taken some time.
Yeah.
That's a shame. Well, it's one of those things. I mean, I think the people in the industry and stuff like that are getting recognised enough now that people are really missing them when something happens. And it's not just a dog-eat-dog thing anymore. There's a lot of people within the industry with a lot of friends. And when somebody passes away, they want to let people know that it's happened. And, yeah, that's a real shame.
I mean, I remember when most of the people I knew in the industry, I knew by avatar and
Nicknames.
On
Yeah.
forums.
Yeah, that's why I'm the Gypsy. You know, even on Twitter when that started in 2007, I went with my forum name. You know,
then,
everybody was an avatar and a nickname. Like, we never knew each other like that personally, other than conferences or whatever, you know.
Around 2005, I started going to conferences and meeting lots of people I had only previously met on forums.
Well, that's it. Yeah, you'd want to go to the conference and put your tag, forget your name, you'd put your forum sticker. Something, you know. You know, again, like, you know, there's I don't know if I want to die first so I don't have to watch the rest of you go or what, but you know, it's just been ongoing. And you know, someone's, you know, I did some line the other day of all the great SEOs aren't doing SEO anymore, and I said, no, SEO isn't my job, it's my obsession. So I'll be doing this till the day I go. It's what I love, it's my life, it's just part of me. But you know, like most of the people that I came up in the business with are 50s and 60s, and some of them in their 70s. And there's like some dinosaurs like Doc, which, you know, we're not sure. We'd have to get Doc carbon dated, I'm pretty sure. Oh, I'm in trouble now. I'm getting hey-heys from over here there, Doc. I'm in trouble. You know. But yeah, you know, eventually the old guard and we'll all be gone at some point, you know. And that's I'd like to be a fly on the wall to hear they talk about us once we're gone. You know. Never did like that Dave guy. He was just such a pain in the ass. I didn't want to say anything.
I'll make sure that somebody says that at your funeral, mate.
Yeah, well, that's probably in my tombstone. So, but yeah, you know, I mean, like, there's going to be a day when, you know, it'll be the golden age of SEO was back in the early 2000s. And we'll all be gone, you know. So many have dropped in the last, you know, 10 years, and slowly but surely, I guess we're all going to be gone. So
yeah,
it's kind of interesting because, you know, again, I just sort of stumbled on this industry. It was obviously not by design, but it's weird to think that, you know, you were part of the beginning of an industry that may outlive us and go on beyond without us. And not too many people can say that, so it's kind of neat. I do take that as kind of an interesting thought sometimes, other than the being dead part, you know.
Yeah, once you get past that part, it's a lot more fun.
Yeah, I mean, I hope the industry outlives us. Kind of like your children. I want them to outlive me. I want this industry to outlive me someday, you know.
Well, I'm sure it's going to change a whole lot more before most of us check out, but it ain't going to go anywhere.
That'll go the way of the buggy whip eventually. Devices are changing, technology changes.
You don't have your buggy whip
doing something like what we do, but they won't be doing SEO. It'll be something different, I'm sure.
It'll be some aspect of digital marketing, you know.
Yeah.
I am looking forward to optimizing cars and refrigerators for search.
Well, yeah, that's it. You'll be the guy who has to come in like a repairman someday. That's where the bar will be set for SEOs. We'll be coming in with a tool belt, our pair a crack in our ass, going, here, let me go look at your thing here. We'll optimize this.
At some point, there'll be an even bigger business programming the ability to order something on a website.
If we go back far enough, I think to me, I still think there'll be a place for it. What it'll look like, I'm not so sure. But if you think about it, the Dewey Decimal System in libraries was literally optimizing the information of that library to be found easier, right?
Yeah.
And so this does kind of predate computers and stuff. We're really just making information accessible, you know, in one form or another. So, I think it'll still be there. What it'll look like, who knows? But, you got to remember this predates us, like when libraries were born, right? So.
Well, let me throw something out here. I saw an article the other day. In Japan, a company has come out with a new add-on option for a new vehicle, where how you can, if you're a mechanic, you can buy these little modules, the diagnostic module you can actually plug in under the dash, and it'll give you all the trouble codes. It'll tell you exactly what sensors are saying what. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they're doing this now online, so you can call, and they can actually diagnose your car online and show up with precisely the right part in their hand to put it in. The next step that's under development is to actually make a lot of those like things like your timing that can be done electronically versus strictly mechanical, like your valve.
Well, again,
they can actually change those things online, so you can call up and get a tune-up while your car's sitting out in front of your office.
Doc, if you look how much you and I have talked about stuff like, Google Assistant and things, it could be very well the case that optimization becomes more of a technical task, less of a link spamming PBN task. It's more of a technical scheme and various data formats that you can feed in, like for Google Assistant and things like that.
Yeah, that's how I kind of see it.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too as well, Terry. It'll become less of a front-facing thing and more of a technical task.
Yeah,
that's just me.
And in essence, that's what SEO started as, getting visibility on search engines by making the site search engine friendly. Like when I started search, there was actually the first real monetization of search engine happened when Yahoo started selling. You could list yourself through, they couldn't index pages with parameters, so Google or Yahoo had an inclusion program that was charging basically kind of by the page.
Paid inclusion.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was the first monetization of search engines, was basically getting your products visible, because developers didn't really know how to do it. A few guys, most guys in this room actually, Bill, could do it. But that's what I started out doing, was writing shopping carts and making sites visible, big sites visible.
Yeah, a little bit more than just directory submission.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, things change so much now from week to week that, Google have made things quite awkward at the moment with the whole Search Console thing, because none of mine have still got anything in there. They've taken away a tool essentially and given us a broken one for the meantime.
Yeah.
Well, you still have access to the old one, right?
Honestly, I haven't actually looked. Every time I try and log in, it redirects me to the new one.
I never did Google's new tools.
No, you still get the old one. No. Yeah, I don't even go near the new one yet. It's not ready for prime time, so no, I could still go the other one.
I believe it. I think it offers the option down below side to revert to the classic.
All right. I keep looking. I see the little thing that says coming soon, and click back off again.
Yeah,
Google seems to think that they can, give a few SEOs access, and they won't go out and tell the world and make everyone else feel like they're inferior because they don't have access. That's how it happened.
Well, I did feel inferior when I didn't have access, and then they gave it me, and I realised that was wrong.
No, it's not you that's inferior, it's their product.
Didn't bother me at all, because I knew it'd be a piece of crap and unusable for at least a year.
And you were right.
I usually am about them.
It's like being invited to be a beta tester on a product, and I'm really unique. I'm one of only 1.5 million beta testers.
Well, technically, I have a few billion.
But all it was for me was actually a nuisance because all of a sudden I got a whole bunch of emails for not just one site, but if I had all 4 versions in there, they sent you 3 others that were totally, there's nothing there to look at.
Terry, on 17 sites in my control, I got, in a period of 72 hours, I got 69 fucking emails. In a period of 3 days. I mean, I don't get that many out of East Europe, for Christ's sake. I feel like reporting Google for spam.
That would be hilarious.
That would make me popular, I'm sure.
Okay, we're getting to the top of the hour. We're past it. So let's have everybody go around and tell us one thing that they want to promote. David, anything?
Yeah, I've got to hang out with this guy called Bill Slosky. Yeah, so tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern time, SEO Training Dojo. We're doing a little bit of a hangout with a question we get a lot from people I'm mentoring, from people in our groups, and essentially it's the SEO process from when you get that sale to the intake, to the quick wins, to the things you do coming out the gate. A lot of people struggle with that because they want to show value to their new customer, within the first couple of months. And everyone gets nervous about that because we all know SEO takes a fair bit of time. So a lot of people want to know how do you go about those early couple of months and that early process. So I've got a fellow named Bill Slosky coming on and a guy named Terry Van Horn, and myself and Scott Polk, and we're going to just sit around tomorrow and talk about all that stuff and hopefully educate a few people and help them out. So there you go.
What time is that, David?
Sorry, what?
What time will it be?
1 o'clock Eastern, usual time with us, So that's 9 a.m. your time.
Coming to that one?
Sorry?
Dave Davies?
No, but I could go grab him if you want. But no. No, it's Scott Polk, I believe, and Bill and I.
And tomorrow's Dave's birthday. I doubt he'll be doing anything.
Whose birthday?
Dave Davies.
Oh, is it? Yeah, I know. Well, maybe we'll get him drunk, bring him on. I don't know. Not sure that would work out.
Doc, anything with you?
What would I like to promote? Off the SEO topic, I'm gonna delve into the political thing here. I don't care who the hell you support or don't support. Well, I do care, but we won't go there. But if you're in the U.S., for God's sake, get registered and vote. These midterms are critical. The presidential election was critical. Now our situation is critical because barely half the population bothered to get off their butts and go vote. Okay, now is the time to get registered. Get your kids registered. Get your friends and neighbors and coworkers registered. I don't care who you're going to do it for. Get out and vote.
And be careful of the political news you see on Facebook and Twitter.
Oh, especially
because you never know which country's behind that.
Well, that and or which any. There's an awful lot of it that's coming out of Russia, but there's also an awful lot of it that's getting parroted by morons that don't have any idea how to use their head for anything but a hat rack.
I don't care. I got UK people, US people here. Me and Terry for Canada. We're not a world power, so we don't give a shit. Nobody listens to us anyways. So
don't sell Canada short now.
Oh, we're powerless.
You guys have participated in every war and police action for the last 3 centuries. Okay.
Well, it's because we give a shit. We also started the UN, by the way, and look how that worked out. So.
Yeah, well. But so
50%. You know what the percentage of people is that vote in Canada? 30 freaking %. Well, a lot of us are like me. I don't want to encourage them, so I don't vote.
Well, I don't like to abdicate, so I do.
Wow.
I figure, if I don't get out there and vote, I got no room to complain.
For me, it's always a choice between a lesser idiot.
Well, that's generally the case, unfortunately.
So you know, until there's someone worth voting for, I'm not going to.
There's never going to be anyone worth voting for.
The last presidential candidate that I was too young at the time to actually vote, but that I would have voted for rather than voting against the other guy, was John Kennedy back in the early 60s.
Yeah.
And every one of them since then has been a total idiot.
And go register, you Americans, and if you can't figure out who to vote for, just pencil in, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no, we'll have your back. We got this.
There you go.
He's pretty quiet, but he can't do any worse, can he? So, you know.
No.
At least he's not
Hashtag oh no, everybody.
Simon, you have anything you want to promote?
Absolutely. For everybody that wants to get more leads for their business in a really, really clever way, go to prospectdriver.io, sign up for a beta invite, and we're going to be launching in the next week or two. Doc, you've already got a license. You don't need to go.
I do? Oh.
Yeah, I've given you a login already. Anybody else who wants one, just give me a yell. And next week after, we'll be launching properly, and we've got some really, really clever stuff going in this week. So, yeah.
Good. I'll be in there kicking the tires. Looking forward to it. And yeah, again, everyone, we get a lot of tools thrown at us, and, you know. And I love Simon. And when he said, "Dave, you want to look at this thing?" I was like, "Oh God, how do you let a friend down easy?" And then it was actually awesome. So I was like, "Oh, this one, yay!" So yeah, it is a really, really awesome tool. Congratulations, man. I'm sure you guys put a lot of work in, and you deserve all whatever comes to you.
Yeah, 4 years, 4 years worth of work getting there, but it's
excellent, man.
last
I really
year.
like it. I am a fan, as you know.
Cool. Cheers. Yeah.
Terry?
Just the usual, you know, do some programming. Probably start programming the RFP system tomorrow.
See, you don't even listen to Bill, do you? You're so used to this show. He said, "Do you have anything to promote?" Not, "What are you doing this week?" He snuck one in on you, man. See, you've been here so long that it's just okay. Here we go. You know, Bill got sneaky this week. I was expecting the same as you. Got sneaky. Do you have anything to promote there, Terry?
SEO Pros. I'm doing the RFP system tomorrow, probably. Working on that.
It was funny. We lunch today. Tanya and I went for lunch today, and I ran back for this, and I was telling her about the little partnership the dojo and pros are going to have for the RFP system. So we were actually just talking about that today.
So what does SEO Pros do?
It puts vendors and SEOs together. Vetted SEOs.
He's going to vet. He's vetting people, and then have an RFP system for people to come and hire SEOs, but they're going to be vetted.
The system. What
you're vetting site owners?
Pardon me?
You're vetting?
No, he's vetting the SEOs, you silly bugger. Vetting site owners. Well, that's not going to happen. It's Terry. He won't like anyone. There'll be no one there to hire anyone. He's like, no, you're
I don't find many vendors I like, actually. That's true. But it worked out pretty good the first time around, just because I dropped it because no one really seemed interested in, you know, differentiating themselves from everybody else by actually having a standard for their work. So that's what
I'm reminded of Credo.
That's better. That's a word I haven't heard in probably 15, 20 years.
Do you know the service? It's a service now.
It still exists?
Yeah.
There were a couple of other organizations. There was a couple of webmaster organizations who were trying to add SEO to their offerings. And yeah, I don't remember Credo, though. Can't say.
Well, I've just found Credo on the top Google search is Urban Dictionary. And apparently Credo is something dumbasses make up because they're gay.
It's not the Credo I meant.
oh, sorry.
Different one.
Yeah, well, that's the one that's ranking at the top, so someone needs to do some work on that.
It's CREDO.
Oh, right.
We're going to put a different spin on it, too, is I think one of the reasons that these things haven't worked is people tried to, how do I say, bring their own agendas into it. So I plan to kind of do the best practices using kind of an RFC system, request for comment. That's how most HTML and a lot of other things on the web are kind of.
I say we get a panel of 4 dudes and bring them in with a hangout
Yeah,
and
but
grill
that's
them.
not inclusive enough.
Grill
The
them.
industry isn't 4 or 5 guys, Dave.
No, I'm just
Everybody.
kidding, dude. I was just saying, like, grill them and see if they start sweating or not, you know.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm just saying you got to be inclusive, and that's why other attempts haven't worked, is they weren't really inclusive. They were inclusive of small groups, and it's got to be inclusive of everybody who's interested in SEO. That's just my opinion. Others likely disagree.
You could all see when Terry and I had this discussion why I said that, you know, the dojo doesn't want that, he can have it. That's a can of worms, son. But, you know,
Yeah, well, I don't think it's a can of worms if you go about it.
Well, we'll
right.
see. When you have that heart attack about 2 years from now from all the stress, you know, I mean.
I think even companies like Google and Yahoo might be, or not Yahoo's preferred, but Bing may be interested at that point because they are working on a legitimate process that doesn't have an agenda, that they can make any comments they want. So other than them telling us, they can say, yeah, that's reasonable, right? They can make a comment about it and, you know, take it from there. But I don't think we'll ever get any kind of real definite confirmation from them. But just having them involved is important, I believe. And you won't do it unless you do it on that kind of level. That's how I kind of see it.
Well, just have lots of marijuana and, you know, heartburn pills and you'll be fine.
Yeah, that's covered.
Okay, I'll throw in one too. I had a article published on the Link Assistant blog this morning, and it's about Google using media consumption history, where they're listening to people on Android phones and they're seeing what people watch on TV and possibly using that to personalize search results. So go give it a read, give me a comment, ask questions.
Well, Google's going to hate me because I don't have a freaking smartphone and I don't watch TV. So, wow, I just crapped out of the demographic, apparently.
I don't have a smartphone or watch TV either, David. My SERPs are all screwed up.
Well, chances
Well,
are
because we're on the internet all the time. That's what I guess.
Chances are they're listening on that smart speaker. So if you have one of those.
Yeah, home mini.
Mine's dumb. I unplug it.
No, Doc, I'm determined now to just go buy some sort of high frequency machine that I can program and sit beside my wife's phone or something to saying feed mayonnaise to tuna fish or something like that. You know? That's my new invention, folks. By the way, I have a farm of tuna fish here, and I'm feeding mayonnaise to them. And soon we will have the self-made tuna fish sandwich. No, you want to even save lots of money.
Just drop them in a blender and go.
Yeah, that's my thing.
Sounds good. Thank you, everybody. Have a good day. Good week. We'll see you next week. Thank you.